Hi y'all, how we doing? My name is Hunter Galbraith with DM Outdoors, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Grim Reaper Broadhead, the expandables. And for the longest time I've been shooting fixed blade Muzzy 3-blade trocar heads, and this year got a new bow and we're going to be switching it up. I've actually already killed a doe this year using these heads, and surprisingly enough, was very impressed with the outcome and how am very impressed with the cutting damage that it did on the deer. It after impact, that deer ran maybe 50 yards. It was a stronger quartering to shot than I had thought, and how everything went in my head at the time of the shot. So which honestly was a little more impressive, because anytime you get a little more extra help from your broadhead, that never hurts. Also, these are $40. They're cheap, fairly cheap broadheads. Definitely ain't gonna hurt your pocket each time if you gotta go get another set. They give you a extra practice tip. It's not spot on for the times that I've shot, but it gives you a very good range to start with, so you're not pounding through one of your heads. I had no problems with taking these out. It was actually really easy to take out of the target, like honestly like a field tip with the head. The spring-loaded mechanical blades that come out here, as you can see, might actually even be able to hear the click back in like that. It is a very good head. You can see right here, there's this piece right here on this head that holds that spring in there, and every time you screw that back into this arrow, just holds it back in there that much tighter, and obviously it's going to stay on there and you ain't got to worry about it coming out. But that arrow, the broadhead that I just used on this doe, actually, surprisingly enough, that little cap piece right here that my finger is on, came open. I'm actually going to reshoot that today and see how that all goes hand in hand. I haven't watched any videos on as far as putting back together the broadhead, because that end cap has came apart. The spring is separated from the rest of the head now from that cap, but the pressure of putting that cap and this screwing it back into this arrow has I think rejoined that spring together with the rest of the head. So curious to see how that does, and probably look at a couple other videos on YouTube as well, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But as far as the shot that I put on this doe, and which really impressed me, through her front left shoulder, according to me, front left shoulder, honestly, I did not think it was that much of a shot, but after watching back video, and I'll show you guys the video right here, and
Ooh. Yeah, she's down.
Damn, I never heard you make that noise before.
Are you scared of 6 more?
and that honestly was surprising to me when I watched that back. I guess it's kind of part of the process. Everything goes a little faster than what you hope for sometimes when you're shooting those deer, and but honestly, at the end, it tore up what it needed to do. It went right through her. Basically, it knocked out both lungs. Went through the liver. Actually, apparently had a blade pass through the heart, because that heart had a big slice in it, so that always helps. Then it went through her back hip. Went to her back right hip. Yes, it was that much of a quartering to shot. That was a very sharp shot at that angle. And honestly, I wish I had just waited for a broadside shot, but it happened how it happened. And at the end of the day, that deer ran 50 yards and died. I did have something rather unique happen in this hunt that is definitely new to me, even though I'm obviously a young hunter when it comes to the archery side of the spectrum. I actually had, after that doe, which you probably heard in the video already, after that doe, after I shot her and she ran away out of frame, she started making quite the noise, almost like a wild boar. If you ever heard any of those videos of just wild boars getting shot, the sounds that they make after that, it was very similar to what she was sounding like, which was definitely a new experience to me. Some of the hunters in my family, they were quite surprised with that as well. It was a very interesting experience, needless to say. But the hunt, first sit of the year at my private spot, and tagged the doe, so can't complain too much. She's already in line for getting processed. So come duck season and waterfowl season and the rest of the hunting season for deer, I'll be sitting up in that tree stand to have some deer meat to snack on. So can't beat that. The package. My father is actually going to be shooting the same heads as me. We both shoot Barnett crossbows. He shoots the Barnett drop tine, the original, the 350 FPS crossbow. I was shooting the exact same bow, and I actually changed that this year. Nothing wrong with the bow. That Barnett drop tine, perfectly good bow. Just kind of making a little to shoot this year. I've seen the reviews of the Barnett, the XB 400 Explorer, and I really liked everything I seen. It's a brand new bow, 400 feet per second. That's moving out pretty good. Nowadays for these crossbows, 400 feet per second almost just seems like not necessarily a needed thing, but it just seems like that's the common number almost anymore. So the high 300s, 380 to 400 seems like the home range for a lot of crossbows nowadays. Barnett seems to put out very good crossbows for the lower price range. Then you get up to the 10 points that seem expensive, and obviously the Ravens, those are very expensive bows. I don't care to put in that amount of money for a crossbow when I could get one for a fifth of the price and do exactly what I needed to do, whether spending $1,500 to $400, $500. Yeah, cutting down to a third of the price, and you're doing the exact same thing that I'm doing when you get shooting something at $1,500. Because I have shot this bow comfortably and very consistently at 50 yards, shooting these heads exactly, and I have no problem at 50 yards. As soon as I pull that trigger, I hear it smack that target at 50 yards. That arrow's moving pretty quick, and I'd be very comfortable at shooting at 50 yards and confident. Obviously, you want to be confident with all the shots that you take and all your decisions, and making those choices when it comes down to shooting those deer or those big bucks, that big doe that you want to put some meat on the ground. You should be confident each time you pull that trigger. And with that XB 400 and shooting these Reaper expandable broadheads, I am very confident. These are the 125 grain broadheads, and I'm shooting out of my XP 400 the, let's see if we can focus this here, the Bloodsport Hunter broadheads, or excuse me, broadheads, arrows out of that XP 400. Went to our local archery and gun shop, and that's where I purchased these, and they were highly recommended by the man behind the counter. And I was up for options. I had read some reviews on different Grim Reapers, Rage broadheads, and Muzzies I was thinking about sticking with, but I was recommended shooting around that 450 feet per second now to shoot in a expandable. I guess you know, after shooting those Muzzy Trocars, those fixed blades, and then moving to this, it was a lot easier at 35 to 40 yards, and then out to that 50-yard distance to control that that expandable broadhead with those Muzzies, those fixed blades. It seemed to every now and then you'd get a very inconsistent flight from different arrows. I actually went out and bought new arrows. I was all over the place this summer trying to figure out what my setup's going to be come this season. And it honestly took me to the very end of the year, the end of the summer, to decide what I was going to do. I ended up shooting those with the Predator lighted Nox Luminox, and so I'm shooting a 20-inch arrow with a 125 grain head out of this XP400, the Bloodsport with a Predator Luminox. And but all in all, with these Grim Reapers, I am very impressed with the cutting diameter. Obviously, you got the 1.5 inch cut diameter razor tip, 3 blades, and then again, like I said, you get the Grim Reaper practice tip. It saves you some poundage on that on those heads, those broadheads, on getting, you know, that first initial couple, you know, 4 or 5 shots through that bow into that target, and getting pinpointed on where you're going to be shooting those heads, because they don't all fly the same. I personally shot all 3 of my broadheads, even with having that practice tip, because it did not shoot exact where I wanted. They didn't all shoot the same. I don't expect them all to shoot the same, but I shot all 3 of my actual broadheads, and those all 3 were very consistent. They were a little different from the practice head, but those 3 that are in that package were very consistent. They shot probably within a 1/2 inch circle diameter. I'm very impressed. So I was really easy to move that halo scope that is on my XP400, and was very impressed with everything all in all. Grim Reaper, these heads seem very sharp. I really like that there's no banding, there's no O-rings that you have to deal with, just that pure slick spring-loaded head. And I had all 3 heads seem to deploy on that doe. I didn't seem like there was anything that was out of whack, like one didn't come out, or they all seemed to come out and do a really good job, because basically at that shot, as you guys have seen in this video, that deer literally, I had that arrow run through most of that deer. You gotta think front shoulder to back right hip. Obviously I don't want to shoot like that, but it put it right through everything that it needed to go through, basically. Like I said, heart, lung, and liver, right in the spot that you want it. But again, very impressed with these Grim Reaper broadheads, shooting out of these crossbows. I hopefully plan to, here in a couple weeks, get that pre-rut going here in Ohio, and seeing me sitting in the tree stand quite often. Hopefully you don't see me. Don't want you to know where I shoot all these big bucks, you know. I ain't really shot no big buck before, but hey, that's for a different story. There's a bunch of big bucks around this area that I do hunt, though. A lot of does. In that video, there was 12 does, just does in that field. So main attraction for those big mature bucks to come around to that area when that time is, and obviously that's why the rut's so good, because you never know what's going to come into your area. Obviously you lose kind of the patterning, the summer pattern that you do. You kind of have a little window in the week of October that you can kind of still have a pattern on certain of those mature bucks, but then it seems like, as for my experience, that once that 2nd to 3rd week of October starts, it's like some of them big bucks go in a nocturnal stage for a couple of weeks, and then you start seeing that first doe kick in the heat, and then it's like the mad dash after that for a month. Sometimes, I mean, you get some of those early does that come in, and you see that stuff here in Ohio in the 2nd, 3rd week of October sometimes, all the way into the gun season sometimes. I mean, that second rut that they talk about during gun season for Ohio. But I will start posting a little bit more this year. I kind of got a camera set up and everything that I like, and I hope to put out some more videos this year. This is just kind of a start to that hunting season, little hunting season video. I'm not going to get to waterfowl hunt as much as I hope to this year, because the way my job is kind of worked out. I'm going to be working a lot of Saturdays, but I am on the 3rd shift schedule, so I go in and I get off at 6 o'clock in the morning. So you can bet your butt that I'm going to be either in a stand or trying to get something going for hunting during the week that I am working, and that Saturday, and all in on Sunday morning. So all in all, again, I appreciate everybody for stopping by, whoever's watching this video. And again, you can order these on Amazon online. You could go into most any archery store, and they will have these Grim Reaper heads. Comes with three regular broadheads and then your practice tip over here. Again, highly recommended. Not the best shot. Went through a lot in that doe and just cut through and did everything it needed to do. She ran 50 yards and she was done. Again, a very exciting hunt for the first of the year. Can't complain about that. Sat in that stand half an hour or so. But I appreciate everybody stopping by. If you have watched this video, I plan to post more and more. And that's it. So anybody who wants to go to my hunting page or my Facebook page is Duck Mafia Outdoors. I will hopefully be posting a lot more hunting videos, and hopefully have a good deer season, hopefully get a big buck this year. I will be making a trip down to Kentucky for Kentucky's opening gun season. I think it's the 2nd Saturday of November this year. I did actually kill a buck there last year. First time ever hunting gun season down there, and that'd be this guy here, which is a cool buck. I mean, he's just a 6, just a big 6 point. I mean, I guess you could classify him as a 7. But like I said, for the area that we hunt, I mean, there are some good deer. We hunt in eastern Kentucky, so not like out west in western Kentucky where you get a little genetics in those bucks. It seems like in western Kentucky and east side where we are, like on the West Virginia and Virginia side. I mean, he was an old buck. He was a really old buck, and just kind of thin. But it was the last day. I mean, literally that buck ended up walking in, chasing the doe behind me, and coming up behind me at like 15 yards, and I spun around the tree on him, and I shoot a 450 Bushmaster, and I swear that sucker about lifted him off his feet. And he ran about 50 yards down the hill, and he ended up crashing at the bottom of the hill on a road, which we took our gator right to him, right on a gator path. So I made everything very easy. It was really fun. That was the day of a big snowstorm for where we live here in Ohio, early November last year, and they actually ended up, even in Kentucky, getting 3 or 4 inches of snow down there, and it was 10 degrees, I think, with wind chill like 0, when the first opening day of gun season there was 60 to 65 degrees. And those 3 or 4 days ended up dropping from a high of 65 to about single digits. Knew those deer were going to be moving, so I actually took a couple extra days off of work and said I'm staying down here, not having shooting a big buck yet, or shooting a buck in general. You pay that much money to go out of state, you might as well get your money's worth. And well, I did that. Like I said, again, not a huge buck, but I mean, something I was more than happy on shooting. But alright guys, as of that, I am out of here, and I'll talk to you later.